You said you had an insurance policy. You said we'll stop him, referring to Trump even getting elected. Then he gets elected, and you're like, don't worry, I'm at the FBI, by golly. I got James Comey as my boss. I'm going to put people in jail around Donald Trump, and I'm going to nail Donald Trump because I'm sure he's done something illegal and we'll get him out of office. So Peter Strzok texts or emails Lisa Page. Razor still open, but serendipitously good, I guess. Then he literally he writes this in the same sentence. You want those chips and Oreos. What a psycho. Page then writes back to Strzok. Phew. PHEW. But yeah, that's amazing that he is still open. Good, I guess. Peter Strzok writes back to Lisa Page. Yeah. This is the part that's so amazing about the FBI and the deep state that Donald Trump has been talking about his campaign being tapped, being spied on by the Obama administration. Listen to what Peter Strzok writes to Lisa Page. This arrogant a-hole put this in writing. Quote, yeah, our utter incompetence actually helps us. Period. 20% of the time, comma, I'm guessing, smiley face. So Peter Strzok is actually saying, mocking the own institution that he works for, talking about how incompetent they are. So therefore, because of the incompetence of the FBI, their incompetence is actually helping us literally overthrow the will of the American people in trying to get Donald Trump out of office. So you got Peter Strzok and you got Lisa Page, who are talking about chips or Oreos and overthrowing the government at the same time. Talking about the utter incompetence of the FBI that they work for, mocking the institution that they work for. They were excited to see that this case, he was able to make sure it didn't get closed, even though it was supposed to be closed, because there was nothing, no evidence, there was nothing wrong with General Flynn. But hey, he begged him not to close it on the day they were closing it down because he thought, I can try and get Flynn one more time by creating a crime. All of this while celebrating with chips and Oreos and celebrating a literal celebration of the incompetence of the people that he works with. Now, I want to go back with you knowing everything I just told you to that audio of James Comey and how damning this audio is of James Comey describing how he got those two FBI agents into the White House to interview Flynn without doing any of not breaking the own rules of the FBI, protocol of the FBI, and what they would normally do if they were interviewing someone at the Obama White House or the Bush White House, in his own words. So not only is Peter Strzok happy about the incompetence of the FBI, so is the man in charge of the FBI in James Comey. He's celebrating the incompetence of the organization in which he leads. Take a listen.
Now, and it's hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. The protocol, two men that all of us have perhaps increased appreciation for over the last 2 years. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over. And so we placed a call to Flynn, said, hey, we're sending a couple guys over. Hope you'll talk to them. He said, sure. Nobody else was there. They interviewed him in a conference room at the White House Situation Room, and he lied to them. And that's what he's now pled guilty to.
What did he think they were coming over there for?
I don't think he knew. No, we didn't tell him. Just said, sending over a couple of agents. I want to ask you some questions. I didn't have this conversation. My deputy director did, but hope you got a few minutes. You can sit down and talk to them. And he said, sure.
Now, you want to know how the media is reacting to this? Great example this morning. Flipping channels, Good Morning America journalists were melting down as they reported that the Justice Department had dropped the case against Michael Flynn based on the facts. They called it, quote, stunning, a bombshell, and blowing up the case. They even put up on the bottom of the screen, Michael Flynn walks free like he had committed a crime and didn't get charged with it. The reporter opened the show with, quote, what some are calling an extraordinary move. The Justice Department essentially blew up the first major prosecution by special counsel Bob Mueller, and the department appears to be saying the FBI should never have interviewed Flynn in the first place. Well, hell, based on the FBI director, in his own words I just played for you, that is accurate. Should have never happened. Based on the FBI and their own closing of the case that was stopped because of one individual, a corrupt FBI guy named Peter Strzok, it should have never happened either. 1-877-381-3811, 1-877-381-3811. Let me go to Laurel in Gainesville, Florida. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in. Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I am good. Thanks, Ben, for taking my call.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I wanted to say really quickly was tuning into what you were talking about, larger corporations being cut, right? So I was part of an organization that has 4,000 employees. But whether it's an nonprofit organization, private, public, whatever, if you do not, as an employee, generate income, you are on the chopping block. Okay, and usually those jobs are admin operations, which are a luxury to an organization or corporation. So, and they're also the lower income. So the people out of the jobs are usually people like me. Okay, so when they cut these big corporations, they're hurting the small people the most. Because
I could agree with you more, which is the reason why I said earlier it's insane that Democrats in Congress are now going after these companies, trying to demand them give their money back by Monday, which is absurd. And all this is about is a political football BS moment for them. And people are going to lose their jobs next week because of this. They're going to lose their jobs. Make no mistake about it, because these companies that hit these numbers the way that they describe them, that they're targeting, are going to say, all right, we're laying everybody off because we're assuming we're now going to have to give back the money. And that's going to cost people their jobs because of the politics of the Democratic Party.
And let me make one more point. Here the government wants to be big government, right? Where they just got their chance to be big government. And here I am, a single mom, unemployed, with 2 kids to feed, and I just got my last paycheck last week. And I applied for unemployment the day I got furloughed, which was 5 days short of 1 month, and they haven't even processed me yet. If they don't process that and get me my check in 2 weeks, I'm in trouble. So big government can't even begin to accommodate this country, because if they can't accommodate 33 million people, how are they going to accommodate 330 million people?
Yeah, great point, and I appreciate the phone call. Thank you. Good to talk to you. 1-877-381-3811. Let me go to Angela in Cedar Falls, Iowa. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in. Hi.
Hey, Ben. Angela,
how are you?
From Cedar Falls, Iowa. Good. How are you?
Good.
I just wanted to say I think I'm actually heading home from work. I'm an essential worker. I work at a dealership, which is not like the front lines, obviously, but I'm listening to the show, great show, and it's really sad to me when I hear this, because my sisters have not spoken to me in over 3 years because of who I voted for.
Hold on. You got to understand, Democrats are tolerant. They're all about tolerance of their lifestyle and tolerance of their viewpoints and tolerant of other people's alternative lifestyles. How could they not talk to you if they're the party of tolerance?
Right. And I think it's disgusting, the lies that the media tells, and you have people out there like them that believe it. And they will totally shun someone with an ad agency that handles marketing, that has Democrat customers, right? And that's who I've always been registered for, but there was no way I was voting for Hillary Clinton. None. And so I just, when I'm driving home and it's...
But this is, you bring up an interesting point here. You've got family members that won't talk to you, right? It's been 3 years, okay? And they won't talk to you because you voted for it. That was the mentality, clearly, of Peter Strzok and James Comey and Lisa Page. We cannot allow Donald Trump to continue to be the president even after the American people chose him. So we are going to put people in jail around him, and somebody will give us something that we can then get him on.
Yeah, and they've believed it. They believed it. I'm just, and the more I heard, the more I'm listening.
See, I want to make this clear. I don't believe or advocate for people going to jail for political reasons. All right. I think it's a very scary, slippery slope. All right. I don't believe that we should ever put somebody in prison for political, because I disagree with them politically. What Peter Strzok did to Michael Flynn, I believe, should be a crime. And I believe it's something that he should go to jail for. Because no one should be able to abuse power in this way and be able to ruin someone's life without any accountability for it. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. If you just joined us, we are chatting about what has happened and what we have now found out about Peter Strzok, James Comey, and the total corruption at the leadership of the FBI against Michael Flynn. They were never investigating Flynn for committing a crime. In fact, they moved to shut down the case because they found nothing, but they decided, because Peter Strzok desperately needed a win to destroy Donald Trump, that they would keep the case open, begging for it to stay open the day that it was to be closed. He then decided to send a message to Lisa Page saying how great it is that he got it stayed open, then asked her if she wanted chips or Oreos. This is how psychotic these people were. Let's go back to the note. The note by one of the people that was to investigate Flynn in that interview read, quote, "What is our goal, ? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired?" That's right. That was their sole purpose. The memo also appears to weigh the pros and cons of pursuing different paths. A primary path included getting Flynn, quote, to admit to breaking the Logan Act when he spoke to Kislyak, the Russian ambassador. Now, I know Mark has talked about this, and Mark, as an attorney, knows more than I do on this one. But the Logan Act's pretty simple to understand. The Logan Act is an obscure statute that has never been used in a criminal prosecution in this country ever. The Logan Act was enacted in 1799, by the way, which is before telephones. And the only reason why we even had the Logan Act back in 1799 is because it was intended to keep people from falsely claiming to represent the United States of America, the U.S. government, when they were abroad. Now, coming up in the next hour, I'm going to play for you a segment. Former House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy, former prosecutor, talked about how, if this was in fact a criminal interview, when the FBI went in to create a crime, if it was truly a legitimate interview, then they would have treated Flynn so differently. His example of how they treated somebody when they're being investigated as a criminal was actually none other than former candidate for the White House, Hillary Clinton.